Call the regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, February 16th, 2021 at 1 o'clock. In accordance with executive orders, we are conducting this meeting via Zoom. The first order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. Charlie, would you lead us in the pledge, please? There's the flag in the background.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Charlie. Item 2, public forum. Not sure that I see anyone from the public on here. Okay. Hearing none, move on to item 3. 3.1 is the approval of the minutes from the January 27th, 2021 budget workshop. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Comments, questions, changes, etc.
There was a number of vehicle requests, and then there was some questions about whether those could be all either batched or everyone was going to be able to the extent consistent with their requirements, get a similar vehicle. Did that happen?
We're working on standardizing a motor vehicle acquisition platform, working through Public Works with that, as they're our car experts.
Okay, because there was a number of places where that issue came
Yep.
up in those minutes.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Anything further? Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectman Haverda,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. 3.2, approve the January 28th, 2021 budget workshop minutes. Is there a motion?
So move.
A second.
Second.
Comments, questions, changes, etc. Suggested changes?
Nope.
Hearing none. Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectman Haverda,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff.
Aye, sorry.
That's all right. Selectman Hoy is also an aye. That motion carries. Item 3.3, the January 29th, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Second, comments, questions, suggested changes, etc. Hearing none, let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectman Haverda,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. That motion carries. 3.4, February 1st. Boy, we met an awful lot that week.
Yeah.
February 1st, 2021, regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second. Any comments, questions, suggested changes, etc.?
No.
I do have one.
Okay.
When we voted on the budget, we didn't actually vote on the 5-year capital plan. We didn't even really talk about it except as it related to the current year budget.
Good point.
Do I understand that correctly, or was that just me?
Well, I think what we were voting on was the document that Mary Jane provided us, which updated the entire capital plan. It delineated what was coming out of general fund, what would be coming out of bonding, and then what would be in the subsequent 5 years. Because as you may recall, we moved stuff out a year, in some cases 2 years. So I guess the question is, did we actually ever take a vote on capital specific? I don't think so. So I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the 5-year capital project in addition, but I think we sort of did that by default based on the way Mary Jane had laid out the documentation for the capital expenditures.
Yeah, I don't know. Can we just do it? Do we have to add to agendas and things like that?
Well, I think Sue makes a good point. You know, if we're going to the extent of putting this together and maintaining it and moving it and changing it year to year, Adoption might make sense.
Well, I don't have any problem voting on it. I just thought for Tracy, for the mechanics, can we just vote on it now, just arbitrarily?
Well, here,
We'd add it to the agenda.
and outside of the mechanics, though, I mean, that document is important because of what's in it and also making sure that it's complete. You know, is there anything that's not in it? I just don't feel like we discussed the year 4 and year 5. And I know a lot of those things are just placeholders by definition, but I feel like we didn't really even discuss the longer term aspects of it. And I personally would not vote to approve that.
Not today, anyway, right?
No.
Why don't we tee up for the March meeting, a more robust discussion on the 5-year capital plan, and with the anticipation that we're going to understand what's in it. Now, that being said, there may be, well, that meeting, we can certainly collect questions if we don't have direct answers to them that we would need department head input on. So why don't we just put that down, put that on the agenda for a discussion and possible adoption of the 5-year plan.
Will that affect the Board of Finance meeting Thursday?
No,
No.
because we've already forwarded our capital request.
And that's for this year, so, okay.
Yeah,
That's right.
I see that. This is an interesting thing, and I would like having it on another date. So thanks for catching this, Sue.
You know,
Okay, good.
you can call me crazy. You can do that anyway, but I don't recall in years gone by that we spent a great deal of time on the future. I don't remember, you know, I mean, it was there. We might have all personally glanced at it, but because it's such a movable feast every year, I mean, I'm perfectly willing to look at it and it's fine with me, but I don't remember looking at it in the past, but that's why I said you could call me crazy.
My perspective was that we understood that a majority of it were placeholders and were for future planning, that we knew they were there. We weren't committing to them because
Right.
how can you plan on, you know, a truck 5 years from now? I mean, you just can't, things change.
Mhm.
right.
After this year, I think we all realize how much things change.
Yeah, and by voting on it, it almost gives it the stamp of approval. Like,
Right.
this is
Well, that's
exactly
a
what's going to
valid
happen.
point,
Yeah.
But, you know, we initiated the long-term planning so that, you know, we would all have a feeling for what would potentially be out there. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, for instance, using the cars or the trucks as an example, you can kind of generally forecast the lifespan of a piece of machinery like that. So they were put out there so that we could get a feel for what things we could be facing. I do agree that before we put our stamp of approval on it, to Lou's point, so that they start appearing to be fact, maybe we could spend a little more time on it.
Right. Right. There's nothing to preclude us from putting a motion together that this is a projected 5-year capital plan. That
Yeah.
this does not
Commit us.
require us to execute as defined in this document. It's a movable, it's a dynamic document meant to be adjusted based on the changing circumstances of year to year budgeting. If we are talking about the capacity to do 5-year budgeting or 2-year budgeting like the state does on their biennial budget, be a different story, I think.
Mhm.
But even in that case, I would want to give ourselves the flexibility to do something different with capital the following year, owing to changes in state revenue, tax collection, or nefarious actions by the Board of Finance in cutting our budget.
Like the
So
word,
I think let's tee it up for a discussion on the 3rd. If anybody wants to get a jump start on that and look at some of those items to get some and ask for clarification on, would be happy to send those questions to the respective department heads.
Okay.
So thank you as always for catching something like that.
Certainly. And so I guess we just need to revise the minutes of that meeting to take that out.
Okay, and then all right, that's a motion, Sue.
Yes.
Okay, we don't have to do. We don't have to do a motion on that. But Tracy, we're going to change that wording. Okay, so, all right, yes, I do need an amended motion on the minutes. And that would be Sue. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second,
Thank you. Any further questions or comments?
Mm.
Hearing none, let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectman Haverda,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. Thank you. Item 4, Finance Director, Mary Jane, how are you today?
I am just fine, thank you very much.
What's the good news? It's all good news, right?
It's always good news. So we're going to start with revenue. So our revenues are pretty close to where we were last year at this time. We're at 89.3 right now. Last year we were at 91.1. In particular, we want to talk about tax collection. As you know, we have deferred the tax collection again for the second time, the second payment for this fiscal year. So payments are actually not due until April 1st. That being said, if we were to compare where we are in comparison to January, which is down 2%, this time in July, we were down 5%. So we've brought in, hold on. Things are popping up on my screen, sorry. You know, we're doing fairly well. Matt did ask the tax collector about tax collection rates, where we were as in January. He asked that question of her, and we are only down 0.04% comparing this January to last January. I'm fairly certain that our tax collection will come in over this first quarter of the calendar year, just like it did the first quarter of our fiscal year. Does anybody have any specific questions related to tax collection?
Nope, good news.
Yep. Other than that, not too much to report. I did want to note that the Selectmen line, the actual month-to-date revenue of a negative 279,000, that's the energy performance contract rebates that we had put there as a placeholder and have given those back to the Board of Education based on the usage of their buildings. So we've brought your line down to where it actually should be at this point, which is still much more than budgeted, but that's where we put payments for the sale of small pieces of equipment when they don't offset a particular expenditure. So that's what that revenue is for. Park and Rec revenue continues to remain low, mainly because we're not renting out the rooms. And finance remains our lowest. And I'm going to be thankful for everybody else bringing in their revenue this year. And interest rates just are not bouncing back for us. So any other questions specific to revenue?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, I will move on to expenditures. You know, not much really to say in expenditures. We are practically where we were last year, just slightly higher, 60.2% as compared to 59.9% last year. All the departments seem to be trending pretty steady. I don't know if anybody has any particular questions. I don't have anything to really note.
Just one word of caution. Fortunately, we got rain last night and through today, not snow. We've been challenged over the last couple of weeks with these storms, and I think Public Works overtime is going to be challenged a bit. Particularly if we have any more storms. Recalling that we had those 2 August storms this year, which resulted in significant amount of overtime. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll be working with Tom Fillion to hold the line in other areas in his budget.
How were the salt and sand holding up? I heard some article that they were.
Yeah, we were panicking about salt. Yesterday, we got a delivery, a big delivery. So we're okay for the interim. We had sand we've got plenty of, but it was the salt that we were having difficulty getting. As you mentioned, Charlie, there's probably a couple articles about that. They wound up shutting down one of the distribution facilities, the one out of New London. The provider out of Gateway, urban legend has it, they force a state to exercise going out to bid or reclaiming a pier down there. So the incumbent provider lost the right to provide salt down there, and they have not yet built a new facility. So Gateway looks like they cornered the market, or we're trying to corner the market. So there's a shortage. It's a classic supply and demand. There's a shortage at this point. But we're good for now.
You're okay, good, all right.
Mary Jane, anything else?
Anything else regarding expenses?
I don't think so.
Okay. Any questions on warrants?
I had none.
None.
Anybody?
All
No?
right, I'm going to talk about the medical.
Bueller?
So I'm going to talk about the medical report. It was just put up today, so you should have it. So Anthem is migrating to a new software system, and that is causing delays in getting their draws set up. So how that works is Anthem automatically goes into our bank account and takes their payments on a weekly basis. But the second half of January, that didn't happen, and we're still behind as of today. You can really see that in the admin. So if you think the claims are down, maybe that could have been okay, but for sure they're getting our admin fees, whether we have claims or not. So, so hopefully they will get that, whatever kinks they have worked out. Our consultant, Joe Spurgeon, is on it, and we are working to get that straightened out. So unfortunately, looking at the claims for the month of January and even into February, the data is not that good. The only number for certain that I have is the catastrophic claims. We are up to almost $1 million covered, a huge jump between December and January. So we're already almost at 50% of our premiums at this point. So that's all I got to say about medical today.
Right. So we need to ignore the projected surplus deficit for the current fiscal year and estimated fund balance, because that may be overinflated as a result of the Anthem problems.
Yeah, for sure it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on that?
No.
Nope.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jane. All right, item 5, which was to have been town engineer, with 3 items, all related to Sawmill Road over the West River Bridge state project number. Janice alerted me this morning that we do not have all the documentation from the state to move this forward, so I'd entertain a motion to table until till our next meeting.
So move.
Second. Thank you, Sandy and Charles. Call the question. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Well, let
Aye.
me do it the right way. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectman Haverda,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. Table to the first March meeting. Thank you. Appointments and resignations. Act on recommendation to appoint Laura Hartman to the Land Acquisition Commission as a new Parks and Recreation representative for a term to expire February 28, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Good. Second? Second, good. Call the question. All in favor?
All right.
Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectman Haverda,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
Selectman Hoy is also an aye. Item 7, committee reports. Anybody, anything to note? Sandy, you're not aware of this only because you weren't copied on something that came out earlier today. NeighborWorks New Horizons we are now moving forward with the subdivision. We have all the studies done, all the engineering work done. So the town will be moving forward with the subdivision of that property so that we can then transfer the applicable parcels to NeighborWorks New Horizons. They also indicate that they have had indication from the state that the state has rated this project for funding at the top of their list. So there should be no concerns over them receiving the housing funding for this project.
Right. I did know some of this because George had sent me an email on Friday. So I was just going to read what he said, which I think this is what Andrew is telling George. I think it's kind of what you just said, but do you mind if I just
Absolutely, go ahead.
read? Okay. He says this is Andrew from NeighborWorks. We are kicking our project back in gear. We had a developer call yesterday with Department of Housing, and they have tagged Guilford as a project of importance from the over 50 pre-development projects submitted from their call for pipeline projects for affordable housing developers. And then the project team, Patrick Quinn Architects, La Rosa Construction, had a call this morning, and Patrick Quinn will be finalizing subdivision work with Michael Harkin and Anderson. As you know, the subdivision field work is complete. It is now just importing site layout onto the drawing for the final submission to the town. And then he had a few specific questions for the procedural questions that I won't read, but yes, that was very encouraging after a long desert of nothingness. So I'm glad that I'm very happy. I'm going to reach out to George this week. I think we need to convene a meeting of our committee. So anyway, that's the story.
Excellent. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
All right, just I'll give an update, even though this is one we don't normally report on. Committee reports, the Guilford Safe Streets Mobility Task Force has moved relatively quickly after we provided them with the funding to engage a consultant. They have the first of their public engagement sessions on Thursday, February 25th, 2021. And that would be 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Zoom meeting to start to solicit input from the community and also share some information about the project with the community. So that's moving along. Anybody else with anything else on committee stuff?
Well, I would just say one more thing. Gary McKelney of the Land Acquisitions Commission had asked me to jump into their monthly meeting about a week and a half ago and just update the LAC members about the Affordable Housing Efforts Initiative in Guilford. And I guess Gary, I don't know if the whole commission felt this way, but Gary felt that maybe the commission should be thinking about any land that they buy in the future that could be possibly used for these projects. And I said, I don't think you should let that be your guiding light, because I said there's so many things around it, like the septic and the bus line. I said, it's not that you don't have to think about it, but I don't think that's, I gave them this as my just one personal opinion, but they have a lot of things to consider when they're buying land for the town. And ultimately it comes back to the Board of Selectmen anyway. So I just wanted you to know I did my best. I told them I wasn't a lawyer, I was a librarian, so.
Good, thank you for that update, Sandy. To that point, you know, the number of available parcels that fit the classic profile for affordable housing are somewhat limited. Several of them are commercial in nature, and by right they can do multiple family housing on commercial properties. So, in fact, there's a parcel on Hubbard Road. The office complex that is across from Safety Zone. And that extensive parcel to the left of the building, as you look at it, has been subdivided and sold. And there is potential affordable housing, actually an interesting combination of things, affordable housing, which age-restricted affordable housing, and for those people with disabilities is looking at that property right now. And they will be engaging with our land use organizations in their standard Tuesday meetings. So there is a possibility of that. But thanks for bringing that up, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Correspondence? Old business?
I
New
vote we
business?
have every meeting at 1 o'clock.
Public forum. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, particularly since I have to hop back on a legislative hearing call because I'm slated to give testimony at some point. So thank you all.
I don't think our meeting on Thursday night will be this quick.
More than likely not.
Hey, Matt,
Yes,
hey, Matt, I will
Yes.
probably be late and in and out because I have another meeting on Thursday, but I'll be there as soon as
I
I can.
appreciate whatever support you can give. That'd be great, Charlie. Thanks.
And then, do you have one more minute after we stop recording? Or should I? just call?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Move
Okay.
to adjourn. Move to adjourn.
In a second.
Second.
That's a non-debatable motion. All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye, well done.
Thank
See
you.
everybody. Bye-bye.